Picture this. You've just won the biggest sports competition you can think of, something you've been working for the last 15 years of your life. Confetti falling all around you in your team's colors, standing at the top of the podium with everybody chanting your name, all those sleepless nights and missed parties and lost friends, it was all finally worth it. You are officially the best in your sport. You've done it. Now, imagine half the United States hating you for it and telling you don't deserve it, discrediting your win. People telling you you're not deserving, you're on the wrong sport, you're pathetic. It doesn't feel good, right? That's how Leah Thomas felt when she won the NCAA women's swimming competition. My name is Amy Hills. I'm a junior at Rollins College. I'm studying political science and I'm a member of the Rollins softball team. Sports politics is a very interesting subject, and I hope you enjoy as we delve into the controversial world of transgender men and women participating in sports. Today, I'm mainly focusing on Leah Thomas, the transgender female who won the NCAA women's swimming competition this year. After talking about this controversial world, we are going to speak with 3 people of different athletic backgrounds and see how they look at this situation. Transgender people have been fighting for equality for years now. Finally, they're allowed to compete in sports under which gender they identify as. Leah Thomas is a senior at the University of Pennsylvania. In 2022, Leah competed in the 2022 NCAA Women's Swimming National Championships after competing in the men's championships for 3 years and completing 2 years of hormonal treatment. After winning the 500 freestyle race, she was sparked controversy across the country, many student athletes speaking out about how unfair they think it is. Mike Pence and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declare Emma Wyant the winner. Even former Olympic decathlete Caitlyn Jenner, who's also transgender and won the men's Olympic decathlon, says that the real winner of this event was Emma Wyant, not Leah Thomas. Wyant is the second-place swimmer from University of Virginia, a former Olympic silver medalist. Jenner tweeted on March 22nd, and I quote, "It's not transphobic or anti-trans, it's common sense." If you just read the replies to this tweet, you can see all the controversy at your fingertips. There are some people giving her respect for speaking out about this, and some people insulting her and critiquing her since she too is a trans athlete, except she's also an Olympian. I have with me here 3 people with very different athletic backgrounds. First, Coach Christine Rozier-Lefevers. Christine is a former player and current coach here at Rollins College. She was recently inducted into the Rollins Hall of Fame because of her career as a player, as she graduated in 2011 as the most decorated player in team history. This is her first season coaching here at Rollins. Next, I have Tristan Peace. Tristan is a sophomore on the Rollins softball team. She's the Offensive Player of the Year her senior year in high school and played softball for 15 years. Lastly, I have with me Madigan Miller. Maddie is a student at Rollins and has little to no athletic background or knowledge. As we get into the interviews, let's preface with a little bit of political background on this situation. Some of the things that people see when looking at Leah Thomas is her old scores and times pre-transition versus as she transitioned and started her hormonal treatments. In a 2017 report in the journal Sports Medicine that reviewed several related studies found that no direct or consistent research on trans people having an athletic advantage over their cisgender peers at any state of their transition. Even using steroids to help hormonal treatments doesn't give trans athletes an advantage. Steroids is an NCAA-banned substance, yet trans athletes can get medical exemptions for them to still compete while keeping up with their treatments. Here's what Tristan has to say about that.
Well, coming from a girl standpoint and I just want to play fair. I would play by the book, and I wouldn't have to, if I work hard enough and work out on my own and get stronger, I could definitely do it without the help of steroids.
With that being said, some people believe if you need it to transition, then hey, you should be allowed to take it. Maddie responded with a more accepting standpoint on the matter.
Well, it's a banned substance, and also it sounds like it's something essential. I'm pretty sure, trans men have to take testosterone their entire lives, at least, some form of it. So I feel like it's a banned substance, but if they want to play a sport, they have to take it, and so it's necessary. So, I don't know. I feel like it's a double-edged sword, kind of. Because if you can scientifically prove that it gives them an edge on other male athletes who aren't allowed to take testosterone, then I feel like you can't obviously play fairly, and that's a big part of the sport. But if it doesn't give them an edge, there shouldn't really be a problem with it.
Some people believe that it can be dangerous for trans athletes to compete against cisgender athletes because they're either stronger or weaker. In Leah's case, people believe that she was physically stronger during the competition because she was only 2 years into her transition and transitioned after puberty. While Leah doesn't feel the same way. She states that she can see her times going up, which is causing a mental battle with her because she is slower than she was pre-transition. This leads people to believe that trans athletes pose a threat to the current sports world. Let's hear what Coach Rozier has to say about that. Do you believe that trans athletes pose a threat to the current sports world?
Not at all. I think, again, I'm not educated enough, but my initial instinct is, okay, maybe we have female-male sports and then a transgender community as well that plays. I think, for somebody to go through the transition and become a transgender female-male is insanely difficult, and I don't think they should be punished because they weren't born in the body that they feel comfortable and that they identify as. So to punish them and not allow them to be able to play sports, be able to be a part of society as a whole, I think is just a disgrace.
Maddie would agree in saying this.
Not a threat. I feel like if you word it like a threat, it sounds like they're like some kind of armada coming to like destroy sports, and that's obviously not what's happening. It's people who just want to play a sport and play a game. Threats? No, I don't think so, because it's not like they're taking over the sporting industry. There's plenty of cis or cisgender student athletes.
So what's a good common fix, you may ask? Many people have been saying online that the best fix would be for colleges and universities to make a co-ed team where transgender men and women will compete against cisgender men and women. This would have a fair playing field where all genders can come together and just enjoy their sport. What would you suggest to be a good fix to this? Some people recommend colleges and university to do a co-ed sports team, allowing both transgender men and women to compete with cisgender men and women. Do you agree with this?
I feel like that could work, and I feel like also this is like a super complicated issue that doesn't have a clear-cut answer because we're just starting to figure things out. And really, like, I've also heard of like other people who say like you should have just like a transgender sports. I feel like that if you just have like a league of transgender people in a sport, it creates an atmosphere where they're like seen as the other, and that's obviously more transphobic than, or about the same amount of transphobic as telling a trans woman that she can't play a cisgender sport, because you're still excluding them and you're still seeing them as like not a woman, and that's obviously what they are. So yeah, I think it's a very complicated answer with no clear-cut solution.
Both Maddie and Coach Rozier have the same opinions on this, saying that this is the easiest answer, but you still can't single out the transgendered athletes in whichever solution there is.
I feel like that could work, and I feel like also this is like a super complicated issue that doesn't have a clear-cut answer because we're just starting to figure things out. And really, like, I've also heard of like other people who say like you should have just like a transgender sports. I feel like that if you just have like a league of transgender people in a sport, it creates an atmosphere where they're like seen as the other, and that's obviously more transphobic than, or about the same amount of transphobic as telling a trans woman that she can't play.
That's kind of where I was going earlier. There's got to be a solution. I think that might be the best one. But then I'm sure, again, I don't think everyone's going to be pleased with the outcome or the results, because, you know, you might have people that argue that you're discriminating then, and, putting the transgender athletes in their own category. And, I don't know. I don't think that I'm glad I'm not having to make those decisions.
It even took a while for someone who identifies as any part of the LGBTQ community to be accepted in sports or even in life. Just imagine people being stripped of their accolades for just being a lesbian. So you are a lesbian, you have a wife. How do you feel if people tried to strip you of your accolades because you're a member of the LGBTQ community?
That would definitely cause an uproar, just because, again, at the end of the day, me being a lesbian has nothing to do with my abilities as a softball player. Everything that I did as a student athlete, I earned and I worked for. It has nothing to do with who I'm dating or who I'm married to. So it would definitely be an issue if somebody tried to do that.
I know you're not involved with any sports team, but how would you feel if you were stripped of any of your accolades because you're a part of the LGBTQ community?
I would feel pretty terrible, I'm not gonna lie. And I know everyone around me, like people that I surround myself with, would also feel very terrible for me. So
Altogether, the common consensus is that trans athletes do not pose a threat to the current sports world, though there is so many different opinions. The main thing to be noted is that the best way to fix this controversy is for colleges and universities to create co-ed teams where transgender athletes can compete against and play with cisgender athletes. The only way this can happen is if colleges and universities can be sure to not single out the transgender community and to keep a fair common ground in this. Steroids are a banned substance, and anyone who uses them could result in suspension from competing or possibly risk getting kicked off the team. However, trans athletes need these steroids to keep up with their treatments. They can get medical exemptions in order to be approved and stay eligible within NCAA. This is where some controversy comes in as to whether or not it's fair. Some believe if you're going to transition and play a sport you identify with, then you should play fair and not be allowed to get exemptions from the steroids. However, there is no confident research done as to whether or not these treatment medications have any effect on the athlete by giving them an advantage. This is why other people believe if it's needed, then it should be allowed to be taken. Having big figures such as Ron DeSantis or Mike Pence discrediting Leah's win really puts a dent into what the trans community has been able to accomplish. This can also cause many mental health problems to Leah Thomas and other transgender athletes. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed. Please tune in next week as we talk about politics in sports films.